really
Okay.
thirsty. So
Well, I can imagine.
don't mind me. I'm just getting my tea.
So 3 hours. That was a 3-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Avengers Endgame. Now, I'm going to explain why I left this channel kind of off on its own. I was seeing spoilers for Avengers getting posted places, and I was getting PO'd because I was seeing it on Facebook and just general posts. You know, as a general rule, don't be an ass.
That is a good rule.
Don't spoil movies for people. I read the Lord of the Rings book, and when my ex and I were going to see the movies, I didn't ruin it for her. She had never read the book, so, for years I kept that secret of how things end up. And then when I watched the movie thinking, that's not right. But okay, I rolled with it, and it was fine.
That reminds me, don't ever watch Harry Potter with Malachi. Oh my gosh. He's terrible.
Well, yeah.
That's not in the book. No, in the book it does.
Don't worry, I'm way ahead of you on not watching Harry Potter. Way ahead of you on that. Now, Avengers Endgame. So, we've been building to this since the first Iron Man movie, and it felt like it felt like it was built to this moment, and it's getting all these fantastic reviews. And I thought the first half was actually better than the second half.
Of that movie?
I thought the first half
ended.
The first half where they set everything up, I thought they set it up well. I thought when they had a few characters here and there, I thought they were doing really well. Hulk is fantastic. Hulk is amazing in this. And then the second half, I thought was really kind of bloated.
And going on and on and
All right,
on.
so if you haven't seen the movie, you can...
Why are you watching this?
You can turn this off now because they know that I don't do spoilers right at the start.
Okay.
They know. If you've been watching since Iron Man, by all means, go out and see this movie, and you will enjoy it. If you're not a Marvel person, I'm not sure why you'd be watching this review, or why you'd want to go and see Endgame, because it's not a thing. That's not a thing. Endgame is really as Marvel can get. Okay, now that being said, now we're getting into the spoiler zone. What did you think?
It was a long movie. It wasn't terrible. I really don't like 3D movies.
I know.
And I don't like how they did the camera work for this movie.
Do you know what? And when you
really
when you were talking
actually.
about the 3D and I don't think it needed to be 3D.
No.
There was nothing in
it irritating.
There was nothing in this movie that needed to be 3D. So I got VIP tickets because by getting VIP tickets you can order your food it makes it it's 19 and up.
Date.
It's 19 and up, so you don't have to worry about little babies in front of you or little kids behind you kicking your seat or any of that crap. Or some teenager behind you ruining the movie.
Seats. And it's so cool how we had people sitting next to us. We didn't have to move when they went to their seat.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. So
kind of fun.
I wanted to go with that experience. I didn't even realize they were 3D. I just went, yeah, VIP passes, done.
I don't like 3D. And this movie, it was irritating. It was so irritating because there were so many scenes. Usually it was two people talking.
So it's your standard two-shot.
You'd see somebody's back and the other person about right here. So this person is all a blur. And then they'd switch the angle, and now you have this person's a blur, and you can see this one. So half of your screen, a little less than half, is a blur. And it was obnoxious. And then there were parts, like in that big battle scene, where they were in areas where you can see part of something, like hanging down, but it's close to the screen.
Yeah.
And so that was a blur.
See, the best 3D movie I've ever seen, and it's not a great movie, but it's Star Trek Into Darkness. Star Trek Into Darkness, which is the updated Wrath of Khan, and it sucks. The storyline's stupid. But the actual way they do the 3D, the way the battles are done in 3D is fantastic. When I saw it in the theater, I was absolutely blown away. So I could ignore the stupid story that didn't make any sense.
Because it looked cool.
Because it looked amazing on the screen. And the 3D was amazing. And in this movie, they don't need it.
I thought it took away from it.
It's a
For
gimmick.
For me, it does. Because I'm not super into the story, so I like to look at the visuals. Like in some movies, I really look at the costumes and stuff and the background. This had some fun background, but how with 3D, how there's blurry and clear, and I have trouble focusing on it if it moves fast, and they had the parts where the camera was doing this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
There was
Especially in the beginning.
I think some of the best moments in this movie. So it starts out with Clint, who's Hawkeye, and he's out playing ball with his family, and his whole family disappears when Thanos does the finger snap. And I thought it was a really effective scene the way it was done. And some of the best moments in this movie are little moments like that. Like, so they figure out they have to go to the past, which I knew. When I watched Infinity War, I'm like, okay, so Spider-Man's not staying dead. They're going to bring him back. So they have to go back to the past for some reason to bring him back to life. They didn't do it the way that I thought they would, but still, they brought them all back. And, because they're not going to leave them dead. I think that was the biggest problem I had with Infinity War. That was, to me, the plot hole was, well, they're not going to leave all them dead, right? So, when they go back into the past and you see Steve in an office that turns out to be Peggy Carter's, who's the love of his life, who in 1970 looks remarkably like she does in 1945. She looks remarkably good for 25, 27 years after he nose down into the snow. Looks fantastic. And I'm thinking, I don't think they did any makeup. I think Haley Atwell came in and said, yeah, so I'm doing this scene. They're like, makeup? No. I've already been an old lady in your movies a couple of times. I'm not doing it now. It's 1970. We'll just pretend I age pristinely. So he has this moment where he sees pictures of himself on her desk.
Yeah.
And I think that's the moment he realizes, okay, she loved me too. Like there was something there, even though in the original Captain America, I think they spent 5 minutes alone together.
Right.
But, the back in the 40s, wanting to bone each other equals, I love you. So that's which is fine. And Steve, they brought in her great niece or whatever it was in one of the Captain America movies, who in the comics he has a relationship with, but that clearly, at some point Marvel said, we're going to throw that aside. He's not going to get a girlfriend in the present. We'll just eventually throw him back in the past somehow, which I thought kind of worked, but that scene kind of sets that up, and I thought that scene was really nice. Now, if you like Lord of the Rings, you will love the end of Avengers Endgame. Because I think there were 17 or 18 separate endings.
Oh my gosh.
Because I knew she was getting tired of it, so I said to her in the theater, I said, this is about the part where they go to the Shire. Because I was having Return of the King flashbacks. Because where the movie should end, it doesn't.
Just keep
going. They've been telling this storyline since 2008, so they want to wrap it all up in a bow, which means wrapping up every single character.
And there's a lot.
All of them.
Yes.
It's too many characters.
Truth.
And I'm saying that as a Marvel fan. It's too many. And I know people will say, well, that's the comics. Look, it's different to see it in a comic book than it is to see it on a movie screen. And a comic book, it takes like 10 minutes to read it. And this movie was a little over 3 hours.
Forever.
It's a lot. So combined between the Infinity War and this one, they're 5.5 hours. That's 5.5 hours you spent with the Avengers characters in the last week and a half.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's fun.
I need to go watch something fun.
That was fun. That was fun. Tell me that the new Hulk wasn't fun. That Bruce has made peace with the Hulk, so now he's Bruce Hulk. I think they call him Genius Hulk. It's a character name.
Oh, okay.
Where he's Genius Hulk, where he's as the Hulk still has Bruce's memories and intelligence.
Right.
And it was actually a lot of fun. That bit was fun. And when they go back to the past and he has to destroy stuff. This seems so pointless. Fine. See, again, it's a small moment in the movie that works really well.
Right.
And now Loki isn't dead anymore either. You realize that, right?
Right.
So Loki, of course, was imprisoned in the Avengers movie, and now he's alive. He's okay. I don't know where he went. Probably the Frost Giants planet or something like that. But he's okay. They have a nice moment as well with Thor with his mother.
Yeah.
That was a nice moment. I don't know why Natalie Portman was there. Was she there? Was it just because it's been so long since I watched Thor: Dark World that I don't know if those were scenes they used from before or if that was actually her there. I
Or
was
they were recreating.
I was cringing at the idea of Natalie Portman having a scene with the raccoon because I thought, her acting is so awful. I don't know that I can handle it. The raccoon is better. It's a better actor, and it's CGI. Natalie Portman is terrible. Just awful. Thor was funny in this, though. Lebowski Thor. And I called it before,
Yes.
right before Tony said
Yeah,
it.
he said it's the dude. And then
It's
he
the
calls
dude.
him
And he says,
Lebowski.
"Get out of the way, Lebowski." I'm like, yep, Lebowski. So we found out that if Chris Hemsworth wants to do like a big Lebowski movie, he can absolutely play the Lebowski. 110%. He never did lose the beer gut in the rest of the movie either.
No, which made sense. I was wondering if they would. And
I
that
thought,
would
you know
be
what, he's
weird.
going to go electric and he's going to be all bulked up and all her, and then the beer gut's going to be gone. But no.
That would be weird, though.
But that's why Thanos was able to overpower him.
Right.
Because he hadn't worked out in a while.
5 years.
A while. But it was a really well done movie, I thought. Thanos. I was actually aggravated when Thanos found out what they were doing from the future. I'm like, oh, they're going to drag this out.
Oh, that was kind of my thought. That they're getting this going. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
okay,
no.
that's why this movie's so long.
We're going to really drag this out and have this whole battle with Thanos from the past. Ah, crap. And then, you know what's funny, too, I thought was really interesting was, so you have Gamora and Nebula, the green girl and the blue girl.
Yeah.
And Gamora, in the original movies, she does turn and she does become one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But it takes a while for her to turn. I thought she turned pretty easily in this movie. I thought in this movie for Gamora to decide, well, I'm going to help out Nebula from the future, I thought it was pretty easy.
I thought it was because that she was from the future, and so she knew things that had happened.
See, and I was waiting.
That was my guess.
I was waiting for Nebula to tell Gamora that she is sacrificed.
Right, or to show her with that thing.
To say
that's what I thought.
You were sacrificed by our father, our adoptive father, so that he could get the Soul Stone.
Right, I thought so too. But she did ask her some questions that made her think. And the way she was talking, it sounded like she was saying, "You're already questioning this. I know this goes badly."
Yeah.
And so that's what it was. Is she was already thinking, "Okay, this is a horrible idea."
So
and that was just enough to push her to be like, no.
I liked Tony Stark in this movie a lot. I thought there was a really good arc. I think that his character really he evolved so well from where you see in the first movie, and he's kind of this cocky, arrogant billionaire who has all these suits, and he's really kind of full of himself. And now in this last movie, they really stripped that down, where he's hardly ever seen in the suit in this movie.
Right.
And it's not about him fighting. It's about him trying to preserve the family he has.
Right.
The wife, the daughter that he has. Fun game to play is how many times do Gwyneth Paltrow and Scarlett Johansson appear on the screen together? Because word has it that they hate each other. And ever since I heard that, I've looked at movies where they're both in the cast. And yeah, they really don't act together. There's no such thing as a scene where Black Widow, Natasha, says anything and Pepper Potts says something back. That is not, they don't. They just don't. So I would think that makes that very, very likely that they don't particularly like one another. And what I thought was interesting too, rumors going around, being rumors as they are, is that Brie Larson didn't get along with the rest of the cast. I don't think it would have been a problem because Captain Marvel's in this movie for like 10 seconds.
She's not in it very much, no.
And not only that, but she's CGI most of the time she's on the screen. So, she's just the Deus Ex Machina. She's the God machine in the movie that when they write themselves into a corner, they go, I don't know how the hell are we going to... this Captain America comes in like a fireball.
Captain Marvel.
Whatever. Captain Marvel comes in like a fireball and she just sort of just kills everything. But didn't we do that the first part of the movie? Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's all we got. So, and again, it's not that I don't like Captain Marvel. I like the idea. It's just the execution is poorly done. She doesn't have a character. This and I argued in favor in Captain Marvel when we watched that movie, and I enjoyed that movie. But in this one, yeah. I don't even know why she's there. I don't. What does she do?
She's helping everybody.
But she doesn't seem to care. Because she gets aggravated as soon as they're like, hey, Carol, can you help us with that whole not wiping out life thing? There's these other planets out here I gotta go help because there's this other stuff that's we never see on the screen or hear anything about that's more important to Carol, who's from Earth, so Earth's problems should be important to her, but they don't seem to be, so...
Because they already have a bunch of superheroes.
But didn't she lose friends and family, too?
She wouldn't know.
She should, because she had her memory back by the end of Captain Marvel.
No, she wouldn't know because she wasn't on Earth.
Doesn't she care to find out who turned into dust?
I don't know.
So yeah, that's my problem with that one. So if the plan is to have some kind of a second Captain Marvel movie, good luck having. I don't even know where you'd start with one.
I don't know.
I can see coming out of this. I can see how Guardians of the Galaxy would work in the next movie, with Lebowski Thor being on board, half drunk, half out of it, every now and then with his axe. What happened to his hammer too?
He gave it to Captain America.
But Captain America, when you see him as an old man at the end, where's the hammer?
Probably in some closet or in his attic.
It's just poor hammer handling.
True.
I know there are people who've asked about how Captain America was able to lift the hammer. Remember, the hammer, it's not about strength. It is about being worthy of the hammer. And the hammer chooses who is worthy, because in the original Thor movie, at one point, he can't lift the hammer either.
Right.
The hammer doesn't come to him until he is worthy of the hammer. So the hammer decided that Steve Rogers was worthy, which I thought was amazing.
Thanos was able to hold it too.
Because Thanos is badass. He is badass. No, sure it does.
No.
Sure it does. And Carol Danvers just stood there while the axe went by her, so that meant Thor likes her. Because she just stood there. But there was no character development.
No.
None.
But there's too many characters for character
But
development.
they developed Hawkeye. Okay, they did a good job establishing Hawkeye as a character.
Yeah, well, she wasn't in it.
The soul he was going through. Right. Which makes me wonder why she's in it at all. The things that she did in this movie could have been done by Thor. You could totally have had Thor, the god of lightning, take that ship out of the sky.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of finding Iron Man in space at the start of the movie, Rocket could have done it. You could have had the raccoon find him.
That's what I was thinking, that somebody would come upon his ship. Maybe they had some kind of tracker.
I figured it was going to be Rocket. I thought, well, Rocket will find him, or there'll be some kind of other tie-in with somebody from Asgard or somebody from wherever, and they'll bring him back to Earth because they realize he's got this great... No, it's just Carol Danvers. She just flies up because she knows where everybody is in space or something.
Well, maybe there was a tracker in his helmet. I don't know.
I don't know either. It felt like if you took some of the stuff out of this, you could have made the movie shorter. You could have tightened up the story, and then it could have been just as grand as a lot of people seem to really want it to be. And I get it. Like, I'm not giving it a negative review at all. It's a really good movie, but you could have really tightened it up. You could have made this a movie that was 2.25 hours long.
But I think they wanted it that long, big, epic movie. Yeah, that was kind of my thought. That okay, so they're trying to make it so it's another one of those big trilogies that everybody watches, and this is the huge grand finale because it's the end of this big trilogy, and they have 10 gajillion characters.
It's because it's still going to go on. There's still going to be other movies.
Oh, I said that when the boys told me it's the last one. I said, "Oh no, it's not.
It's the end of the Avengers.
No way, it's the last one.
The Avengers are done.
This is the last of this movie. There's still gonna be more movies.
The Avengers are done, which is fine. Although I don't understand why they're done. Like just because you don't have Iron Man and Captain America doesn't mean they go, oh, I guess we're done. Oh,
Right.
Black Widow's gone. That's the end of that. So, and the thing that got me too was that the Soul Stone. So in Infinity War, it's determined that for the Soul Stone to let you possess it, you have to lose something you love.
Right.
So for Thanos, that was Gamora. He had to lose Gamora. He had to throw her off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Does Hawkeye love Scarlett Johansson's character?
That's what I was a little bit confused.
Because all of a sudden it was,
Why?
well, one of you has to die so the other one can possess. And I thought that's not what the rule was in the first movie.
Right.
It was that you had to lose something you loved. And I thought, well, Hawkeye's already lost his family, so, he's lost everything he loves. But now, apparently, he loves Natasha, or Natasha sacrificed herself so the Soul Stone could be possessed by Cliff. I don't, Clint, I don't know. She went off the cliff, his name is Clint, right, okay. But yeah, there are just little things in there that just confused me a little bit. But, it was alright for what it was. It was a pretty good movie that had 48 endings.
It had a lot of endings.
And it just kept going.
A
So,
lot of endings.
should I admit I cried?
Well, people die in it. And they focus on the little kids, and that's horrible, and I hate it when movies do that.
I was not surprised that Black Widow died. That's been the rumor that's been out there forever. I was not surprised that Steve Rogers doesn't die exactly, but he does end up being an old man in the present, which means old people are useless, so he has to give up. I don't understand why. That's what the movie tells us. When it's what are we gonna do without Captain America? And I thought, why can't he still be Captain America?
I
Because
thought
he's
the
old.
exact same thing. What do you mean living in a world without Captain America?
He's right there.
Right by you.
You're talking to him. He's not dead. It's not like he turned into Yoda and he's dust at the end of it.
I had the exact same thought, and then I actually thought he was gonna say, "I'm still here."
I couldn't believe that. I was like, wait, why can't he still be Captain America? Just because he's old? Oh, okay, all right. So the shield goes to Falcon instead of Bucky, and I think they did that. I have a feeling they did that because the actor that played Bucky revealed they were going to make him Captain America, so I think they probably said, okay, we'll go in another direction just so that it doesn't look predictable. That's my thought.
Would it be something in the comics, though?
Well, no, because he said at Comic-Con.
I know.
He said they told him that.
I remember you saying that, but would they be deviating from the comics, or would this be something that's already in the comics?
They deviate at points.
I know they do, but that's something big, I would think. I'm sure somebody will tell us.
In terms of characters being portrayed by different people, it happens in Marvel all the time.
Right.
Carol Danvers was not the original Captain Marvel. I still don't know why they call her Captain Marvel, because at no point in this movie is she called anything but Carol Danvers. Right. She's not a captain of anything. So she's just Carol Danvers flying around space, all invincible and everything. Except at the end when she suddenly wasn't. But I don't know if you noticed, but all of a sudden against Thanos, all of a sudden she wasn't invincible. Even though when they find Thanos on the other planet at the start of the movie, she is. But was it because Thanos didn't expect to be fighting? Does his helmet make him stronger?
You always need to wear your helmet.
So Captain America is alive, but he's dead because he's old. And then you've got Iron Man who dies saving the universe, which was awesome. Robert Downey Jr. really hit that out of the park. And we are at a point now where, yeah, he's probably too old to be playing a superhero. But he could have passed on the Iron Man mantle to somebody else. You get the feeling there's...
Iron Spider-Man.
I think that's a thing. I do. I think
I could see
Marvel's done so many crossovers and so many alternate universes. I'm not going to rule out that being a thing.
I could see that going because his
daughter.
How his wife was to Spider-Man right at the end there when he was dying.
Yeah.
How she was kind of, consoling him.
Well,
and so she has that technology and stuff. What would stop her from being, you know what?
Pepper's
come on over and...
Pepper all of a sudden was back in an Iron Man suit. Like, you didn't see Iron Man 3. No. But all of a sudden she's back with a She didn't have an Iron Man suit anywhere in between Iron Man 3 and now, and all of a sudden she's got one again.
But okay, so not seeing all the Iron Mans, I figure that was, she wanted him to not do the whole Iron Man thing, right? Because she was wanting him to not have that thing on his chest. So she
didn't want to worry about him dying.
Right, she didn't want that part of the life. But then it came a situation that she needed that to help protect people. And so she was like, oh, okay, I'll get that on so we can get this sorted out. That's what I figured that was. So I didn't have a problem with that.
I thought she was, I'm not a big Gwyneth Paltrow fan, so it's just
That's an understatement.
It's
Shannon doesn't like her at all.
I'm not a fan. but the Wasp was back. I was glad to see her. I was glad to see the Wasp show up. I'm like, yes. There were a few moments I cheered. Doctor Strange is fantastic.
Doctor Strange.
And what he does with all and I wish I could do that where you get the force fields and all that. They were awesome. And that whole battlefield, and that felt like it was too big of a battle. Personally, I was like, wait.
Oh, see,
Are we doing the
really envisioning Lord of the Rings at
Yes.
that point when all these guys come in and all these guys, I was like, oh crap.
All it was missing was the ring wraiths and Frodo climbing the mountain. That's all that was missing.
That's yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
what I was envisioning. I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be that, isn't it?
It was pretty, but again,
Treebeard in there, and
again they were going epic with it. Well, they have Groot, so they don't need Treebeard.
Treebeard's awesome though.
Although Groot didn't really do much in the battle.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, he was. Rocket landed on him.
But you didn't really see him. Like he wasn't an active member.
Like he can kick ass.
Second.
He can kick ass when he wants to.
He's a teenager, and so he's just like,
teenage pass. Groot, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, overall, it's a movie that people need to see if they've been watching the Marvel Universe. If I had to grade it, I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. It would have been a 9 if the movie had more of a tight storyline. Sort of lose 40 minutes of bloat out of the movie. And I don't know why you have a movie, you have Loki in there and he doesn't say a word the whole... Loki never said a word in the scenes that they... And I thought, you're missing an opportunity here for this trickster, prankster guy to have some really good line or at least something interesting. And he just... Nah. So...
He was just in there so that it would get confusing when there was 2 Captain Americas.
And so that when he's...
like, look, he's back. Do we know who this is? I think that's the only reason that you saw Loki for that moment.
But none of us believed that wasn't going to be 2 Captain Americas.
No, but it was for the storytelling aspect. Yes, we know they're both Captain America because we know the storyline, but it makes it so that the old Captain America knows that Loki's missing and so can say, oh, that's not a Captain America, that's Loki. I think it was for the story aspect.
Yeah, it just... I think they should have at least had him talk. That would have been nice. I like Loki. He's a good character. But, Brainy Hulk is fantastic, and hopefully we see more of that in future movies. And I don't know where you go from here. I don't know what you do. Because this movie, the one thing it does with all the bloat and everything, it ties everything together really, really nicely. You don't need to make more Marvel movies. You could stop. They won't. But they could stop.
They'll never stop.
This would be a perfect place to just say, okay, the universe is done.
It's also easy to continue from there. So they've taken care of Thor and all that. But now we have these characters. They have this history. We can go on from there. So now there's some other bad guy that comes up, or maybe there's somebody that because of all this, it made him go crazy or whatnot. So you could do movies going on from there.
Well, we'll see, because
all your heroes and
there's the potential. There's the potential that Dark Phoenix, the new X-Men movie, could somehow tie them into the Marvel universe. There's some talk about that. That at the end of it could take
X-Men Marvel too.
Yes.
Okay.
The Avengers is supposed to have Wolverine in it. Wolverine was an Avenger in the comics.
Okay.
And I thought it was a missed opportunity not to at least have some sort of a cameo for him in this. Something with Wolverine would have been great.
They had Stan Lee in it though.
Yes, they did.
Remember, I had brought that up the other day when we watched the other movie. I was like, Oh no, well they have the cameo from Stan Lee. They have to. They can't have the final movie and not have him.
Right.
They can't.
Right.
And they had him.
So there you go.
That was awesome.
Would you recommend this movie?
If you like superhero movies and you've watched the other ones, it's not a movie that I have really any desire to watch again, but
well, we're gonna go see it again tomorrow.
No.
Because
I will go into a different theater and I'll watch anything else.
Don't say anything else. I'll take you up on that.
Like, crap, what other movies are on now? I have no desire to watch it again, but I didn't really like the other movies. I really disliked the first one. I just really didn't like the Not Captain America movie.
I know.
That I think was the worst.
I know.
So being not a fan of the movies in the first place, this one was one of the better ones. But I
really enjoyed it.
And I really didn't like how they did 3D and the camera work.
I know.
I think it
yeah.
took away from it, and it made it hard for me to focus on some of the storyline.
Personally, like and I'm a fan of 3D movies when they're done right. If you're going to buy a ticket, just buy the standard. Don't worry about the 3D. The movie doesn't need it.
See, I generally don't like 3D. But
if it's done right.
This was really bad.
Certain movies I absolutely have to be seen in 3D. This one was not one of them.
No, this one, I really think it took away from the movie.
Yep.
It made it harder for me to watch the story because I was distracted by the big blurs of people and the camera movement. I really didn't like it. So, I would recommend if you're going to see it, not in 3D.
I can't argue with that at all. All right, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, I'm grateful now that I don't have to avoid a bunch of spoilers because the internet's sucked for that over the last week or so.
See, and all my friends are really good at being very careful about spoilers for all sorts of things. So,
yeah, I was mad.
I know. Shannon got really mad the other day.
Because I'm just browsing around Facebook and, people are talking about this and that. And all of a sudden they see a spoiler for the movie. I'm like, seriously?
See, and most of my friends that wanted to talk about it, they would do the post on Facebook and they would say, I'm going to talk about this movie, spoiler in the comments. And then they would make their first comment.
Nope.
Be something, so they wouldn't put it on the post.
I was just choked. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Now I got some hockey to watch. And may the 4th be with you. She's got her Princess Leia shirt too. So nice. We're all Star Wars'd up, even though it was a Marvel day for us today.
Princess
Thank you guys.
Leia's awesome.
Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you again soon.